Hello Cherries fans and welcome to this impromptu review of Wednesday's game. AFC Bournemouth sadly went down 1-0 to our South Coast neighbours, and we're going to take a second look with myself, Sam Davis.
And me, Tom Jordan.
If you're brand new to the channel, make sure you do a couple of things. 3 if you want.
Oh yeah, you've got a bell.
Yeah.
Click that, notifies you. You've got a like, gets out to more people. And you've got the big subscribe button. Make sure you click that one. We'll really appreciate it. Content daily pretty much at the moment. There's so much. But yeah, loads of content always to fill your week. So yeah, really appreciate that.
And it's a really difficult one to do. It's an annoying one to do because it's the first loss we've had to talk about for seemingly a long time. It was a chance for us to equal the 7 Premier League unbeaten games, but unfortunately Gary O'Neill and his side came short in front of the Prime Video cameras on Wednesday night, and it was a performance where we looked really dishevelled, mate. And for what is mooted a derby but isn't a derby, isn't a rivalry, you'd think that we ourselves would get up for it, but it was quiet in the stands, it was quiet on the pitch. It just had such a lull on Wednesday night, didn't it? It wasn't nice.
Yeah, it did, and it was disappointing. I felt the atmosphere. I don't know if, it shouldn't too much, but I think the early goal for them really killed things early on. But yeah, it just on the pitch, in the stands, like I say, it was a real kind of dull affair. It wasn't a great football match, but Southampton won't mind because they got that goal, and they probably would have wanted it to be a dull game after that because they had the lead. I don't think they kept a clean sheet all season until that game, so that's really poor. And neither keeper had much to do, did they? So it was a bad one. But as I say, the lads have been pretty good lately, and it was just a horrible way to have a bit of a blip against them lots. So.
There's the league table on screen at the moment then, so we are 12th.
Mind the gap.
Mind the gap. But look at that though, Tom. Just 4 points between us and the drop zone there. I mean, I'm looking at a win. A win would have been putting us on the edge of what? Is that
Europe, yeah.
Is that Conference League position? But as it is, we're looking over our shoulder with some quite difficult games to go. And as games go, you're always looking to take points off the teams in and around you. And it sounds like I'm bitter, and I've said this on Twitter to a few people, but I thought Southampton were pretty poor. Probably poorer than the Leicester side who we beat. Yeah,
maybe. I think it's one of them you've got to put into context a little bit. I think because of their early goal, they're not going to be expansive. They're not going to be, free-flowing, because they're just going to sit there and go, well, come on then, because we've got the league now, we don't need to do anything. So in that sense, they'll probably go, well, we didn't need to be any good. But yeah, I do agree. It was quite easy to kill. We rarely have more possession than the opposition, do we? I mean, whether we have all season, to be honest. But it's quite easy to knock the ball around and keep it. But they didn't have to. It was a well-worked goal.
Yeah, it certainly was. And we got to see it. We got to sadly witness it, as did people watching on TV, because it was shown at a Greene King pub. Of course it was, because that's the place to watch all big major TV games on Sky Sports and BT Sport, and also Amazon. And there are plenty of Greene King pubs in and around Bournemouth, Poole and Christchurch. We've spoke about the pubs before. You know what? We might make a habit of trying to do something from a Greene King pub whilst we're doing this, mate. So yeah, maybe we'll start to do that. But we spoke about it. The Jolly Sailor in Poole, the Antelope, the Churchill in Bournemouth, the Broadway, the Brunswick, the Richmond Arms, and a great place to watch live sport. But it also helps when you've got discounted drinks, mate, isn't it?
Yeah, make sure you've got that season ticket app. That's the baby in it. So it's the season ticket app. Just easy to just little click, you download it, and then bang, you get loads of offers. And if you whack in BOTN as the code, which stands for back in the net, then you'll get a free welcome drink, mate. Yeah. And you also got other offers, don't you? I think there's some games and stuff you can play on there. So yeah, really good.
Yeah, some instant win prizes on the app. You can book your table by it, and yeah, 10% off a range of drinks, both an hour and after a game, but also during it as well. But like Tom said, enter BOTN, you get a free welcome drink, whether it's a pint, a glass of wine, a Ribena, whatever you like. It's a free app. It's called the Greene King season ticket app, and it's on your app store. If you can't make the game, visit a Greene King Sports Pub. They are your home of pub sport.
It's where the fans go.
But we were at Dean Court and we were watching a side, Tom, that lined up very differently to the formation that was shown. Obviously, they show it as a list on Twitter, so we're all thinking that Fredericks is going to be on one side, Smith's going to be on another, but as soon as the whistle blew, Fredericks playing on the left-hand side, Smith on the right. Didn't quite understand that.
Yeah, well, it almost looked like, as you say, Fredericks was definitely on the left, and it was almost like Tavernier was right wing back, and then Smith was right centre back, which was a bit strange. But I thought, okay, we've had this before, where he first moved Smith to the left, and it was to occupy Maddison, and it worked. So I was kind of trying to gauge what the reasoning for it was. I'm still not sure. Is it just to surprise them a little bit? Not totally sure, but obviously we soon changed that. I think it was within 15 minutes it was changed, and then within half hour it was changed again. It was like we were changing that back five. I think I worked out we changed that back five 3 times in half hour, wow. Which is odd, which is a bit strange. Was it one of them things to keep them guessing that just didn't work out maybe? But yeah, it felt a little bit, it was hard to get any sort of balance within the side because we were changing every few minutes. But yeah, it was a weird one. Because I don't really understand why. It wasn't like they had someone out there, like we said about Maddison, that I thought, oh, maybe we're trying to do something there. So yeah, it was strange, and we didn't look quite as comfortable in it.
Gary O'Neill so far has always been quite good at reading the room, but I noticed in his press conference that he did, he said that he was pleased with the performance in terms of the numbers.
Yeah.
I know that this is obviously basically his job application that's going on at the moment, but I felt like he sort of maybe misread it, because a lot of Bournemouth fans hugely frustrated after that. Yeah,
frustrated one. I guess he's kind of looking at them kind of possession stats and how much control we had in the second half, and it just he would look at it and go, it's just fine margins that we didn't quite get that goal. But we were more, put it this way, we were much more in control than we were at Fulham in the second half, but we weren't really doing much with it, and as I've already said, that Southampton were happy to have us where we were. I could see what he's trying to do. He's not going to come out and say we were awful or anything like that. It was just a frustrating night, and I think as well with the run we've been on, we got a game coming up. He won't want to just suddenly, he hasn't been too carried away when we've been on this run,
no.
So he's not going to get too carried away after the first defeat. So I think he's just trying to keep it quite level. And keep boys believing, really. But yeah, there was a few tweaks and system in there that was really odd, despite it actually just being unchanged in terms of personnel. I did, by the way, I got Southampton 11 out of 11.
You did?
First time I got 11 out of 11. It was bloody them lot
yeah,
on the preview, but got that one right.
What was just frustrating for me was the lack of tempo at times. I mean, I know we started the game off, Solanke had a pulled shot, and throughout the half, we won't go in chronological order, but Billing had an effort from range, of course. But it just, I don't know, it just felt as though the simple things weren't being done right. We were giving away silly passes. We were gifting them possession so often. There was a lack of intensity, and Southampton really didn't have to do much to sort of merit their lead. I mean, it was a poor goal to concede as well. When the ball was eventually worked out to the left, it was fired in. It was a great cross, actually. You've got to give him huge credit for the cross, because it meant that Che Adams didn't really need to do much with it. Of course, he directed it towards goal, but didn't have to generate his own power. But when you actually look at the moment that Che Adams connects with the ball, there's no one around him. No. He's got the freedom of Dean Court. I mean, Senesi, I think, was the man who was supposed to be marking him, but he did get caught flat-footed, and it was a simple goal in the end.
It's one of them that Southampton will be saying that's a really well-worked goal, and I agree. But from our perspective, it's really poor. The way they just kind of had it on the edge of our box and just manoeuvred it so comfortably over to that left, and then, like you say, it's a ball in the box. We've only got one player to worry about, and we just leave him. And yeah, I'm right behind that, and he, like you say, the power is already on the cross, and he does direct it perfectly. That's the one thing he had to do, was just perfectly direct it, and he did do that. And as soon as it hit his head, I knew it was in. So yeah, really frustrating one from our point of view, and it was so early in the game you couldn't really gauge, how they go, because they weren't doing much, nor were we. You couldn't really gauge what was going on, so it was a big moment.
In my head was Leicester and Forest matches where we're going to make a comeback, and I really wanted to see that, but there was just no evidence of that ever happening, really. Apart from the Phil Bill shot, there was also a high shot, I think was flagged off for offside anywhere, where Billing blazed it over the bar, but we didn't look like we were going to lay a glove on them, really.
It was kind of huffing and puffing, I would say, but without, as you say, mate, you always look for the positives when you go a goal behind, and it's kind of, right, we've done this before, this might be that kick up the arse we need, and we can really start taking the game to them now, they'll sit deeper, etc, etc. But yeah, it was, as I say, it was just, we were huffing and puffing, but not really causing any problems, but we had so much of the game to go. I thought, okay, this hasn't been good, but get them in at half time, say to the boys, Leicester, Forest, we've done this before, we'll shoot, up at the North Stand now, hopefully let's give them something to cheer about, and we can really hurt them, because they're not causing us too many problems, but it just want to be, mate. Was the North Stand as flat as it sounded from where I was in the south? Yeah, I felt so. It was odd. I really hope safe standing is a thing that comes in. I mean, you've probably seen, it's been reported in the Echo and also on the Athletic as well, about the potential of
redeveloping Dean Court. It seems like seems an exciting time for us at the moment, but the work will be going on at Canford Magna to be making it into a Cat 2 training facility, including an indoor dome. That's the thing that they're prioritising, but after that they're going to look pretty rapidly at sorting out the stadium as well, so whether a new facility or the current one. But I would love all the singing North Standers who wanted to stand in the same area, mate, because sometimes I find, I've said this before, that I'm almost embarrassed to sing because no one else is around you. You almost need some kind of psychological profiling of supporters about when they get behind the side, and if they don't, shove them in the main stand, shove them in the east stand or whatever. Of course people want to watch the game where they want to watch it from, but we do need to get behind the lads more, and sometimes it can be that 12th man. Sometimes we just don't help them, but then they don't help themselves either.
No.
And the second half performance, we had a few chances, but
yeah, I mean, I'm struggling to remember too many. It was, and we kept getting corners, free kicks that were horrific on the night, weren't they? I mean, the set pieces
the delivery
were
was
atrocious.
so poor, yeah.
Whether that be Tavernier, Christie, Lewis Cook, whoever it was. Even Stanislas come on and just scuff one into the side net.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, really, really strange. We weren't getting them right, weren't beating the first man. And yeah, we were just putting, it felt like, to Southampton's credit, they were just forcing us wide, and we were kind of putting aimless balls in the box when there was no one really in there. And it was same old, and it just was getting more and more frustrating, and the clock was ticking down, and you felt like something needed to be changed. And obviously he tried to mix a few bits up, but we've given him a lot of credit for some of the changes O'Neill's made, and I really can't get my head around the ones that he did in this game.
So Ryan Christie came off on 62 minutes and Junior Stanislas came on.
Yeah.
A player that, of course, you know, we know his problems with injuries. We know when he's fit and when he's on form, he can change the game. But if you have a look at the average positions, mate, one thing that is abundantly clear to me is how narrow we were. Very
narrow, yeah.
So to me, surely it would have made sense to have that natural width. Whereas Junior Stanislas, he always likes to cut inside. So for me, that's not quite right.
No, it was one of them that I think in hindsight it's easy to say because he didn't look quite right, and he wasn't he didn't make any impact. I kind of got, at the time, I kind of thought, okay, Christie's not having the best game. We are trying to put balls in the box. Stanislas, and we were talking about set pieces, he's normally quite good at them things, so let's see. But I agree, mate. I think whether it be Fredericks or Smith, it obviously ended up, they're inverted. So that left side is always going to be coming in. And then on the right side in that second half, we had Fredericks, who looked down on his feet. I mean, worst game in the Bournemouth shirt by a mile. I've been quite quietly impressed with Fredericks. He surprised me how good he's been since he's come in. But I thought he was absolutely awful. I really do. And I thought he had an awful game. I thought every time he got the ball, he stopped it dead and just passed it backwards. And he didn't have the legs. And he stayed on the pitch till 83, which I couldn't get my head around. So he wasn't. So even though Junior's coming inside, you haven't got Fredericks bombing on as much. And I think the weirdest thing is you've got Jordan Zamora sat on the bench, who, from a fullback/wingback position, he offers you natural width. Jay Nantley offers you natural width. Neither of them come on the pitch. So it was surprising. And as I say, when we were getting them balls wide, we were chucking it in, and we got no one in there because Kiefer Moore's not coming on to the 83rd minute either, which just, couldn't quite get my head around it.
Well, we weren't using the width enough. You can see by the heat maps that we were everywhere, but with Southampton, they barely even played down the middle at all. It was all down the flanks. We were dominating the middle of the park, but we've got players that can also dominate the wings as well. And like you say, we could have had, say, Jordan Zamora coming on, who I don't know what him and Anthony are thinking at the moment by the fact that they're bringing on Joe Rothwell, no Premier League minutes, no Premier League experience. Junior Stanislas, who's only just come back. You know, Kiefer Moore coming on late. Siriki Dembele, I know we've all cried out for him, but I just don't think this was particularly the one for him. It's so easy to say in hindsight because he could have got an equaliser and then we'd be saying what a tactical god Gary O'Neill is. But when you've got proven game changers on the bench, it does seem to be a bit of a queer decision.
And Gary O'Neill knows firsthand that, you know, Forest game brings on Joe Nantley, gets the winner. So he knows what impact it can have, and he has used him, and he's used Jordan Zamora as well, and I don't think they've ever let him down. So it was a bit strange. Maybe just having Rothwell and Junior back, and with Dembele kind of not getting any minutes. Maybe he just thought them sort of players we hadn't seen enough. That might get the crowd off their feet a little bit. You know, they're back. You know, let's try something different. Like you say, mate, it is easy in hindsight. I just kind of thought we needed a bit more. Some more connections, and we all know Jay-Z and Anthony have that on that left-hand side. And I always say it, I don't think it takes a rocket scientist to know that when a team goes 1-0 up, that they're struggling, they haven't kept a clean sheet all season in Southampton, what are they going to do? They're going to go deep, just deeper and deeper, and they're going to go invite crosses, and just sit at the back. So how, and you've got Kiefer Moore on the bench, how Kiefer Moore's not coming on to the 83rd minute, I do not know. It was crying out for him. I kind of thought we could chuck him on at half time, but if not that, 60 minutes. I can't get me around that. And right at the end of the game, I know we haven't quite got there yet, but right at the end of the game, it was the only time when we're getting balls in the box. He barely had any time, but he was getting a few knockdowns. And when you've got a team defending as deep as they are, go and occupy him with a big man like Kiefer Moore, and we know what he can do. So, yeah, it was a bit strange that kind of Stanislas and that were brought on before him, really. But as I say, mate, if we go and if Dembele puts one on the top corner out of nowhere, we will go genius. So it's one of them things. But we've praised Gary a lot, and I just felt from the system that we've talked about and the change all the time to the substitutes to everything, really, just didn't quite get it right.
We haven't scored in the Ted McDougall stand since the first game of the season.
Oh, Lerma.
Yeah, Lerma's goal. And since that moment, which came very early on, the amount of minutes that Dean caught without a goal. And we haven't changed end so far, so it is always the first half.
Have we conceded many at the Ted Mac conceded, though, either? Because the Leicester goal was at the North Stand end. The goal against Southampton was at the North Stand end. I don't think we've actually conceded a goal at the Ted Mac, have we?
What about the Arsenal 3?
Oh, Arsenal. I forget about the Arsenal game. Yeah, we must have. But yeah, it's been a farewell for that as well. Weird, isn't it?
And I've been in the South Stand too long, mate. I think I need to join you in the North Stand to actually see a goal close up.
Don't say that. You absolutely jinx that. But
no. But you know, I was saying the Ted Mac. We won a free kick on about 30 minutes from a dangerous position. Why is Lewis Cook taking free kicks? Why?
Yeah.
Why? I love him. I absolutely love him. But like, he scores one goal per 2 or 3 seasons.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why.
No.
Like maybe he pinged one in training or something, and they thought, okay, well you can have one. But to me, it just didn't make sense.
No, all I could think at the time was the angle of it. Maybe because I would have thought you'd probably go, and we're obviously with Junior not on the pitch. You're probably thinking it's going to be Tavernier, Billing, or Christie maybe that can hit. Oh no, Christie doesn't. But like technical with that, and they're all left foot. And I wonder if they just thought this needs a right footer, and Lewis thought he fancied. But yeah, I agree, mate. I think without Junior, we don't really have. I thought Tavernier might be that player, but he hasn't shown it yet. And it's nice to have someone from set piece in it to cause a few problems. We don't seem to have that. Even last season, we had like Brady at times, didn't we, near the end? So, yeah, we're kind of missing that a little bit. I'm not sure about. I'm just thinking of his kind of position in that. Is Rothwell able to smash one? I'm not sure. Maybe time will tell. But yeah, it was a weird one. I do remember the one you're thinking of. I mean, it was just over the bar, but it never looked like it was threatening, did it? But yeah, I think when you're a team like us, you need to be good at set pieces because you're not going to have many chances in games as we've seen. Going into Lewis, though, I would say that it was hard to, but if you push me for a man of the match, I think I might give it to him. Yeah. Just because I felt that he was ubiquitous, mate. He was everywhere, wasn't he, Lewis? And I thought many times in the game there was a lot of safe passing and kind of people going, oh, they're so deep. I'll give it to you, you do something. I'll give it to you, you do something. He was going, look, give it to me, I'll drive. Yeah. And he was trying to push us up the pitch, which we know Lewis can do. So he deserves credit for that. And again, probably say Maps, to be fair. I thought he didn't do anything wrong. But yeah, and I said it in the fan cams briefly, mate, but watching that game live, obviously, and I was really kind of looking at Dom at times and thinking, this boy is getting asked to do so much. It's ridiculous.
He was so isolated at times.
But he's going, right, I'll go and get the ball on the halfway line, I'll beat 3 men, I'll lay it off, then I'll make the run to try and get it.
No one was giving him options, though.
And that's why it frustrated me. I don't know if you agree or people in the comments agree, but sometimes I just feel at certain games where you go, if Kiefer Moore comes on, even if he does nothing, what he does is he occupies the centre half. Yeah. He gives him something to worry about, and then Dom can get freer. Yeah. And Dom's comfortable sitting just off Kiefer. And I would like to see that a little bit more. Maybe people will say, I think it was the Brentford game, they started them both, it didn't quite work. But yeah, there are certain times where I just think, I'll give Dom some help because he's such a good player, but he's being asked to do so much.
Can you bring yourself to praise Southampton with the way they went out? No?
Flair looked nice. Listen, I wasn't impressed by them, but as I have kind of alluded to it, that they got an early goal, well-worked goal. What do we expect? Why are they going to come out then? They've got the goal, and to be fair to them, the team that hadn't kept a clean sheet, they were comfortable defensively. Ward-Prowse always gives you a lot of energy in that midfield. I thought even Armstrong and Adams were, pressing quite high, and I thought the the big blow for them is Carl Walker-Peters come off, and I've just seen that, I think it was Jacob Townsville actually put on Twitter that it's long term, and he's probably one of their best players, so that's a blow for him. But I thought the left back, Pear, who put the ball in, I thought it's the first time I've really probably seen him, I thought he was good. So yeah, they dealt with things pretty comfortably, so they deserve credit for that, and I think they'll be in the mix. Yeah. But you saw at the end, I mean, I could give them a load of stick that how mad they went with the celebrations, considering it's not a big game. But I think it was more that relief. They haven't won in a while, and it was a big win for them, mate. So taking all the rivalry and the much I don't like them too much aside, they will probably say they earned that. Do you know what I mean? Just by the way they went about the game, they were disciplined and organised, which is not something that when we're talking to Jacob, that seems like they've had much of late. So they'll take some credit for that, and they needed that because I think they've got Arsenal next, so they really needed to get something, and they probably earned it because we didn't do much.
I know that a lot of people have had their opinions on Gary O'Neill, certainly before the Saints game, but afterwards I felt as though it was a little bit harsh that many people who were 50-50 or even open to Gary O'Neill getting the job, all of a sudden, after one managerial catastrophe, they are instantly saying he's not fit for the job. But then I did sort of say on Twitter, there were times when Eddie would do that, but he had credit in the bank.
Of course.
Gary O'Neill hasn't done that. But it did seem to be a little bit knee-jerk, some of his decisions that he made, and a lack of experience there, a lot of people are saying.
I think it's an easy thing to say, in that I remember that, Parker got a lot of things wrong, say even last season when we got promoted, but everyone kind of, oh no, he knows what he's doing, don't worry about it. But then if Tinder or Woodgate made a mistake in a game, everyone go, see, no experience. And I think it's just an easy thing to fall to, is, it's that. I think if you have always been under the impression of, I don't think he should get the job, that's fine to say told you so kind of thing, because it didn't work out, absolutely fine. But if you weren't sure, to use that game just to make a decision is a bit weird, a bit knee-jerk. But I personally have always, at the end of the day, went and lost the game. So I've always been very complimentary. And I think even if whatever happens now, I will always be complimentary of what he's done. But I've always been very much like, let's stick to the World Cup and let's readdress. Have I been, you've got to give him the job? Absolutely not. Has that changed my mind, that game? No. I probably think he's a man that can take us up to that World Cup. Which we've said a lot of times, and then hopefully Foley will be in properly, and we can make discussions and see who we want to get in. But he's done a really good job coming in, and I think he would do a good job as a manager in the future for someone. Right now, do I think he's the manager we should go for in our first Premier League season back? Probably not, but that's not just off the week.
Interesting. Well, you know what? I'm not entirely sure we can say much more than that, to be honest.
No, I'm trying to think of any. We had like one little. Was it? It coming to the box and Bazuna kind of lost it at the back, and I'm in that north stand. I think Lewis Cook fired it across, and to be fair to them, they always seem to have a centre half in the right place. But as I say, it felt like the only time we were causing a few little weird problems was when Kiefer come on and it just gave him something to worry about. But it wasn't a game that it felt like all game I thought we could be here another hour. It wasn't going to happen for us. So one of them things. But listen, if we go to West Ham and get something out of the game and perform well, we'll just put it as a little blip.
And these are the kind of managerial tests that Gary O'Neill will have when he becomes a manager of whoever. That's his defeat, and how do we bounce back? So it'll be interesting to see what lessons he's learned, whether he's learned any lessons at all, because I think this game might maybe it could compound people's feelings towards him at the moment by saying, no, actually, he really shouldn't get the job. Or maybe they'll think twice and it can be swung back into the balance again. So, look, it's a huge game for him personally. Whether he's seriously contemplating the top job, I don't quite know. But either way, for Bournemouth, it's a game that... do you think they're a team that we could get at?
Potentially. I mean, they've got good players, haven't they? I mean, Declan Rice sat in front of that defence is a top player. They've got Skamaka in now, as well as Antonio Bowen, so they have got good players. But they haven't been amazing this season. I think I think it's Forest's only win against them. So, they can be got at, and I think we can certainly go there and get something, but it will be difficult. I think, I think let's look at, let's remember people are saying enough about Gary O'Neill's lack of experience. So let's think, he's made a lot of changes in games and it's worked. And he's probably tweaked too much, and I reckon he's probably learnt more from that than he has in any previous game. He's maybe, it's just me thinking out loud, as maybe he's gone back in and gone, right, I've been mixing things up lately, it's worked, because it's like I'm changing things and it's working every time. I've overdone it in this game. That's right, I need to reset, look at myself a little bit, look at what went wrong. It might be the best thing that could happen, mate, for him personally. So, they always hear that, I can't remember what the exact saying is, you learn more when you lose, don't you, as a group and as a manager. And Gary O'Neill can go in there with the boys now and go, right, this is the first time I've lost. If you like me as much as you say you do and you like working for me, let's go and react. And if we react, we'll go, maybe it was a weirdly a good thing. But it is amazing how we, invincibles to, oh shit, we're looking over our shoulder a bit here. It's football, we like it, mate, and let's hope we can bounce back. I believe in the group to bounce back and give a good showing on Monday and in front of the Sky cameras as well. So hopefully it will be I think it'll be a tight affair. I think it'll go either way.
Looking forward to it. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to do all those things by pressing the like and all that jazz. What's coming up on Back of the Net? Tell you what, massive amounts of content. Away day review, Fulham, keep your eyes peeled for that. West Ham preview, this guy's birthday. West Ham, we're going to have a match day vlog, free for all that stuff. Of course, an away day review, and then we'll be back into previewing, who's after that?
Tottenham?
Spurs, is it?
Yeah, but only a couple of away games, couple of home games for the World Cup, isn't there?
Yeah.
And then we've got a cup one in there. So let's bounce back, mate. Let's keep the content going. Like I say, it was hard to do this one because you kind of think, oh, we haven't lost for so long, I don't want to talk about it. But sometimes it's good, isn't it? Just get it out there and let us know what you think in the comments as well. But yeah, I'm glad we got that over now, and now we can look forward, mate. But regardless, still mind the gap.
Oh, the cheers.
Cheers. For about another week.